We are here with NJCAA Hot Hoops. Kenya Landers and Dan Olson here for the next hour, perhaps, talking JuCo basketball for the week of mid-February. Reminder, Kenya, we're going to be in the NJCAA National Tournament up in Casper late March into early April for the national championships held by Casper College up in Casper, Wyoming.
Yeah.
And of course, before that, we have the Division II that's in Joplin, Missouri at Missouri Southern State University. But look, as we do every week, we got some poll changing going on. We've had some wins going on that shuffled things around a little bit. But New Mexico remained number one for the second week. So congrats to them at 20-1. But why don't you go through the top 10 for us, or top 12, I think we listed,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
thus far, and see what's happened.
Yeah. So sitting at number 2 this week, Northwest Florida State. Number 3, Chipola at 22-1. Three Rivers coming in at number 4, 18-2. Number 5, Dodge City, 20-2. Number 6 is Hutch, 21-1. Wabash Valley and Gulf Coast State, 7-8. Shelton State, number 9. South Plains, wrapping up number 10. And then our last two are two teams from Texas. Number 11, McLennan out of Waco, and number 12, Trinity Valley out of Athens, Texas. They are rolling in at 18-3.
Very good.
So yes.
So Chipola flipped with Northwest, I think, from the last
Yeah.
week.
Mm-hmm.
And, Shelton State, South Plains, they're all hovering around where they were. As rest of the same group there, they're kind of hovering around within a position or two. How
In
about
striking distance.
Yeah, what about the top 5 in D2?
Man, we still got people rolling undefeated in D2.
Yeah, we do.
Kirkwood, number 1, Johnson County, number 2. Both of those teams are 23-0.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Union, 22-0. Then we got Essex.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, 18-1, finally dropped one. And Mesa, 18-6 at number 5.
Yeah, there's a little change there in that
Yeah.
that order we'll talk about as we move on in the show. But who's hot for the week? Who's not?
Yeah. So our teams that are hot, Three Rivers.
Yeah.
Three Rivers, 3-0 this week. Dodge City, 3-0. Hutch, South Plains, McLennan, Olive Harvey, we're all 3-0. Grayson, Cochise, Eastern Arizona, Pearl River, and Eastern Florida all rolled in 2-0 this week. So big week for those teams that are grinding out and really playing a hell of a schedule.
Yeah.
And to be undefeated for the week is a big thing. Then who's not? We got some teams that dropped, but like we always said, they're gonna drop and they're gonna bounce right back. So Southern Idaho and Crowder both went 0-2. Butler, Blinn, and Chipola all rounded out 1-1 for the week. So sometimes 1-1 is not a bad week at all.
Yeah, at least you didn't go 0-2.
There you go.
But Southern Idaho now, I mean, they've kind of had an up and down year. I mean, they've winning, then they dropped a couple, then they come back, and now they've lost a couple again. So, but I don't count them out. They've been legit over the years. You know, they know how to win when it counts. So, look, when we come back, let's do some rewind of talking about the last week's games, and there was some interesting games. And we'll be right back with NJCAA Hot Hoops.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
We're back. NJCAA Hot Hoops, Kenya. We're going to talk some rewind for the previous week, and we've had some interesting games that have shuffled what we just talked about in the top 20. And let's start right off with Gulf Coast. They beat Chipola at home 77-75.
Yeah.
Gulf Coast has a couple of Canadian players. They have, well, more than a couple, but two in particular. One that we really haven't talked a lot about, Clara Koulibaly. She's like a 6'2" forward that can step out. And she stepped out. She had 4 threes in that game, along with 19 points and 5 boards. Big. She had to come up big in that game. And so did Alicia Murray, another lefty guard, size and position. She can play the two, and she can also distribute because she had 19 points and 12 assists, but she buried 3 threes too. So, that was a heck of a game, I imagine, in the Panhandle. One I didn't get a chance to see, but I'm going to have to go back and look.
Yeah.
But the player that we've talked a lot about, Kanisha Daniel from Chipola, she had 17 in that game. But they've got another player that we haven't spoke at all about, a freshman named Denia McDonald. This kid is from around the Ohio, Michigan area, but she's got size. She's like a 6 foot wing that can play multiple positions, which is, you know how it is in junior college. Like you've got that versatility element to you. You've got a lot of chance to really perform. And she did. She had 14, but it was the first loss of the year for Chipola. They had been all the way up to 2. Now they fell to 3. But they bounced back the next game. They beat Pensacola by 17, 61-44. And Daniel had 25. Kenesha had 20 in that game. So um, the ups and downs of the Panhandle Conference. There you have it.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
thank you.
Yeah. Same can be said for the Jayhawk in Kansas.
Yeah. And Region 14 and down in
Region 5,
Mississippi.
and Arizona. I mean, they all seem to have the same moniker, So
That's right.
Dodge City beats Butler by 7. Shorna Preston had 18 and 10 for Dodge. She's a nice 6'1" forward. And for Butler, Ashley Singate. She's a Kansas player, freshman, kind of a combo guard, 13 and 5 in that loss with Butler. But the bottom line in that game was that Dodge hit 11 threes, Butler only had 6. So there's the difference in the game. Let's switch over to the East Coast, Division II, which we had just mentioned in our Division II poll.
Yeah.
Undefeated Union and undefeated Essex out of Baltimore faced off. Union beat them convincingly, 89-70. I've seen these two teams early on in Jamboree time. Both of them are really talented with multiple positions, but Union's got a forward, Hillary De Los Santos. It's a freshman. Had 17 and 13 and 6 assists. That's a nice outing,
It's a very nice outing.
Yeah. They've also got a guard, Destiny Bynum Johnson, had 25 and 11 boards. So they're an inside-outside game. Team. They've got pressure that they can play in, and they've got versatility. They're great in up tempo. They're having a heck of a year, and I think they run the table. They only got like 4 games left.
Right.
For their regional league.
It's getting down to that time of year.
Yeah, it is. Before you know it, we're going to blink. It's going to be March.
Yeah.
So, Pearl River and Gulf Coast out of Mississippi. We talked about them last week. 2 of the better teams in that region of the country. And Pearl put it on Mississippi Gulf Coast 75-49. Jasmine Jackson, 15 points, 13 boards for Pearl. They shot 49% from the floor. And for Gulf Coast, they were 0 for 15 from 3. That's it right there. That's it. You're not going to win a lot of games if you go like that,
No, you're not.
So, Region 5, right? 63-46, South Plains over Odessa. Isabella Joy dropped 17 for South Plains. Talia Cornish has 10, a nice little guard for them at South Plains. But really for Odessa, they've got some players that they got to show up.
Yep.
And Arminda Joaquim, one of their star players, she didn't do nothing.
He cannot win if she doesn't score.
No.
I don't care who they're playing.
Yeah. And his front court, he's got some size in his front court of
Mhm.
Caitlin Staley and Jada Cook. They only came up with about 12 points in that loss. So yeah, Odessa 2 for 14 from the arc. You're going to win games like that, like we just said.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Cochise knocking off Arizona Western. These two hot teams.
How about it?
Yeah. Uh, Jesse Joaquim had 10 and 20 boards. You talk about somebody that gets on the glass. She's
Don't
doing
get it.
Yeah.
She was just going to get. Hey, that's the 4-on-3 rebounding drill, right?
There
You
you
got
go.
you got more defensive players than offensive players, and the offense better get the glass. I mean, I can just see her on every shot going to get the ball,
Yeah. Humping
humping it.
that ball
Yes.
off the glass. Arizona Western was held to only 30% from the floor, 17% from the arc. So, look, Coach East, they can turn up the D, pressure you, make you fall into bad shots, and they came away with a 10-point win. Our friends over at Kilgore knocked off Tyler. And there's a player that we haven't talked about that's an East Texas player, Madison Bob. Nice player in high school. Finally, maybe starting to figure it out. She had 16, along with Nikia Allen with 23. So those two players really kind of kept the effort for Kilgore going and moving ahead. For Tyler, it's been an up and down year. I mean, they make some efforts forward, then they maybe knock one back. But freshman Kyra Anderson is a nice wing player, kind of
Yeah.
a stretch four. She had 11 and 10 boards in that game, in their loss against Kilgore. Close game, you know. Let's talk about Murray State in Northeast Oklahoma A&M. We've been
What
kind
a
of
game.
talking a lot about Murray.
What
But
a game.
Murray got tripped up at NEO, and
Yep.
never count NEO out of it. Jim Rowland does a great job. He's been there a long time, and they've got front court size. The Wembanyama sisters, they're like 6'3", 6'4". One of them transferred in from Chipola last year, but Marie had 8 and 12 boards in that win, and I think that they probably played a significant role in the outcome of that game by their size, and in rebounding the ball. Now Murray was only 2 for 17 from the 3-point line too, and like I said, that's not going to win you games. But Murray does have a nice wing player, Angola Afu. Freshman player had 10 and 19
Yeah.
in that loss. So Murray 16 and 3, NEO 11 and 8 so far. Let's talk about Miami-Dade. Now we've got Susan Summons, the head coach at Miami-Dade College, coming on our hot seat today.
Yes.
And there's some tie-in with her being there for his 30 plus years in coaching at Miami-Dade, with National Girls and Women's and Sports Day.
Yes.
It's a perfect tie-in because, wow, you talk about someone that's really been there for the long haul and doing it the right way. She's been having a pretty good year at Miami-Dade, but they get tripped up in overtime by Hillsborough, 105 to 100 in overtime. That was not a defensive game. But her backcourt had pretty much half the points. Kiera Harris and Shamir Quimby had 49 of their 100. And freshman Clara Peterson had 24 and 21 rebounds. So that was a big up and down game. Tough loss for Miami-Dade. But then they had turned it around. They had beaten Florida Southwestern. It's a heck of a win for them. Florida Southwestern, as we've talked about, has been really good this year so far under a new coach. They got knocked off 77-51 by Miami-Dade, and Peterson 26-17. She showed up there as well, as did Quimby. Quimby's one of the elusive elite guards in this class for JuCo.
Yeah.
That can really score it off the dribble and handle the point and handle it versus pressure a little bit. She had 20 in that win. So, look, when we come back on our hot seat, we're going to have Susan Summons, head coach at Miami-Dade College. We've been needing to have Susan on for a long time,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we'll be right back with NJCAA Hot Hoops after this. Welcome back to NJCAA Hot Hoops. On the hot seat today, as mentioned, the one, the only Susan Summons, head coach at Miami-Dade College. Susan, welcome to the show. Long overdue, as we know. But wow, do you bring some power to the junior college setting? And we're just delighted to have you on, aren't we, Kenya?
It's an honor. It is truly, truly an honor to be amongst greatness today. Woo, I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to go today. I'm ready. Yes.
So let me paint a little background here, Kenya. Okay.
Please.
When I started in women's basketball, Barry University, Miami, I had no idea what was going on with girls basketball, women's basketball. The first phone call I make, Susan Summons.
Oh man.
And we had a couple of players, and obviously one of the notable players that played for me for 1 year came from Susan and has moved on and done great things within the Miami-Dade community. And I'm sure we'll shed light on that on Ramon Edwards. And among the many other people that Susan has had on her teams over the years, congratulations on your recent 700th career win. That's a phenomenal feat, Susan. And
Thank you, Dan.
yeah.
First, I want to say thank you for having me on the NJC Hot Hoops Show. This is the hot seat, baby. And
That's
we're
it.
bringing the fire today
Okay.
for everyone. Kenya, again, thank you for having me. It's really an honor. Whenever I have a moment to be a part of change, be a part of supporting something that I believe so passionately about, the junior college student athlete, the impact they have on this game, women coaching at this level, and what we bring to the table because we deserve a seat at the table.
That's right.
Whenever I have a moment to be a part of that, I get excited. I bring the fire. So this is a perfect show. It's the hot hoops. I'm in the hot seat, and I love the hot seat. So
That's
thank
right.
you. Yeah,
And you're in
That's
hot
right.
Miami too.
it is. It's
You can't
it's
get
hot
any
here,
better than
although
that.
we got a little cold spell that came down. Of course, Panhandle got some snow. We've got about 30, 40-degree temperatures here. So it was fairly cold. I got a little cold, caught the flu. The bug was going around. We had to get through that. But Miami is still tropical paradise,
Yes, it is.
right? Everyone still loves to come here.
That's
Yes,
right.
it
That's
does.
right.
Everyone still loves to visit the restaurants on South Beach.
That's
Mhm.
right.
And it's a popular place. The traffic is congested. The turnpike is expanding. It's crowded here. The traffic is crowded. The people are crowded, but it's still a tropical paradise.
Love it. I love it.
Among the junior colleges in the country, quote me if I'm wrong, Susan, is Miami-Dade not the largest populated junior college in the country?
It is. Miami-Dade, Dan, is the largest populated community college in the country. They just recently, by US News, was voted the top public education institution in the country.
Wow.
US News report. It's on the website, front cover, global economy, global economy, and it's also one of the highest academic. I have to say that because I'm a former professor, retired faculty for 38 years in the biology and also in the psychology area. And the academic accolades that I've seen this institution receive has been amazing. From having former President Barack Obama to former President uh, Bush be the commencement speakers.
Mhm.
So it's been incredible. We've had top NCAA coaches come here, like the late, great Kay Yao. We
Yeah.
all remember Kay Yao. And
Mhm.
I remember her and I sitting in the bleachers watching the national AAU games that featured at that time Lisa Leslie.
Oh,
Right.
wow. Yeah.
Amazing history. And
Yes.
LaDon Eccles, who then later went to Rutgers. Lisa went to USC. LaDon went to Rutgers. After graduating from Miami-Dade College, we got that kid off of that national AAU California team. And she went to Rutgers and played for Teresa Grants, the
Yep.
legendary Teresa Grants. So there's a lot of history surrounding there academically. What they're doing, I mean, right now they offer one of the fewest degrees in artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
one of the few and the only community college right now that's offering that degree program.
Mm.
And I might say that the president that's now with Miami-Dade College is my former student athlete,
Wow.
Madeline
It's
Pumeyega.
amazing. Wow.
Wow.
I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't say that and share that because
Absolutely.
I'm proud.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
we all as coaches, you, Kenya, we all as coaches and all the coaches listening to this show pride themselves on the impact they have on the young people and the students that come through their doors. And we want our students to, number one, graduate, but we're preparing them for life. We're preparing them for the life skills that they need to have to become those leaders, the leaders in NCAA Division I coaching, the leaders in education, the leaders in criminal justice and law enforcement, the leaders in the medical industry, the leaders in technology. So Madeline Pumeyega, who led me to my first state championship tournament when I first arrived here, Dan, and you and I
Wow.
met that first year. You were at Barry. I had just arrived from Boston.
Yep.
Madeline was my center.
Wow.
Ramona was my guard. Ramona out of Boston. I brought her with me from Boston. She was a
Mhm.
top Boston public player, all tournament, all selection up in Boston, and I brought her with me. She was the point guard. Madeline was the center. And this in the first year, they led me to the state JuCo championship tournament and a conference title. Some odd years later, hold behold, we have Madeline Pumeyega back, and she's now the president. Unbelievable
Yeah.
how the cycle
Yeah.
Yes.
evolves. But
As
Well,
we
here's
Coach,
say, it's
talk
always
about,
a network.
yeah. So I mean, you have that story, right? But I feel like you have been just so impactful with everything that you've done and all the young people that have been fortunate enough to come into contact with you. Talk about over 37 years in the game. I mean, 37 years. How have you kept the main thing the main thing? How have you continued to stay motivated and encouraged through the changes of the game and the changes of the young people? And how have you continued every day to go stand up, left, right, let's do it every day?
well, that's a great question. I get that question all the time.
Mm.
I was built for this. This is my legacy. This is my calling. This is my passion. And it's not just about creating champions for a day, for a week, but it's creating champions for life. Not just student athletes, but people. People that come in my contact, students that come in my contact, in my circumference. I want to impact them. I want to be able to say something or do something that helps to change their life or inspire their life or help them to go and take action. We never know when you wake up and you talk to someone on the phone, Kenya and Dan, and you meet them or you run into them. You don't know that your words inspire them. that day, that moment, they could have been having a bad day. They could have been unsure of something. They could have been low on confidence. You would have not known that. But what you said impacted them that day, and for some, impacts them for a lifetime. So I often get so many calls from people all over the country asking me, how do you do it? Where do you get that fire? How do you do it day to day? The generation is changing. I just answered that question. A parent asked me that question.
Did you
A
tell the parents
parent,
to change it? The
yes, a
parents
parent asked me, well, I want to ask you about your coaching philosophy. I said, wonderful. Well, how do you feel about the generation of new student athletes? How do you handle that? Because they have changed. I said, first of all, we're living in a different time. That's the first thing in society. So it's not just a student athlete transformational change, it's the transformational change of society, technology, social media, all of the variables that now a student athlete, young, from teeter tots, babies, 3 years old are on a cell phone, using technology. It has transformed the way they're thinking, their critical thinking, the amount of information that's coming in different ways. They don't have to wait and ask anymore. They could just Google it. They could just go and look. But it's changed. And I told a parent, the one thing that hasn't changed is RESPECT, respect. I don't care how much transformational social change happens. Young people still have to have and understand and know that they have to respect their scholarship. They got to respect the program. They got to respect the coaching staff. They got to respect what they bought into. This is what you chose. You chose to be a student athlete. Student comes first. And with that comes a certain level of obligation, commitment, and guess what? I like to use the word accountability. So for anyone listening to this Hot Hoops podcast, coaches who need to be encouraged or inspired on what you're doing, is it the right thing? Do you change your philosophy? No, you don't change your philosophy. Do you lower your standards? No, you do not lower your standards. You maintain your standards and you create a level of expectation and standard that the student has to rise to, because you can better believe if you give a student an expectation and a standard to rise to, they will rise to it. Over the population of student athletes coming up, they're craving discipline.
Yeah.
They're craving it. There's so much noise coming in from all different aspects that they're distorted. They're constantly locked into the phone, in their ear, on their hand, in their pocket. They don't even think anymore. It's just a phone that tells them the energy. I also referred to it. I did a workshop called background noise. Background noise that constantly radiates around that student athlete. So when I answered that question, the parent asked me, I'm also giving you and sharing you aspects of that answer to your question. Coaching philosophy, the generation, they've changed. Yes, the generation has changed. The NCAA new rule that they just granted, the board of directors for the NCAA Division I granted that rule. It will change the way the junior college performs. It will change the way a player, it will change how the parents look at and think about the junior college ranks completely. International players are going to strongly try to take advantage. Why? It gives them an opportunity to come over here and get that 2 years of foundational experience before they go Division I, because some international players have to adjust to the U.S. system. It gives that JuCo player that's here in the U.S. an opportunity to hone their craft, to beef up their stock, to develop more maturity, because D1 coaches, they're going to the JuCo route. They're going to the Division I portal. They got their feet up on their desk. We all know NCAA legislation allowed them an extra staff member. And part of that extra staff member's duty specifically is to get on the Division I portal every day, check it, review it, take notes, and they're pulling players. D1 coaches, they don't have to recruit at the high school level anymore if they don't want to, unless you're a top hot kid on the hot seat and you are a baller shot caller. So
Yeah.
I tell my kids, and I told a parent this, the game for women's basketball has changed. And it's changing every day. It has completely evolved. I'm grateful and thankful to be alive, to be a part of it, to witness it, to see it. And you mentioned Kenya, 38, 39 years. Really, it's 43. 39 years at Miami-Dade.
Yeah.
Wow.
And 4 years at Roxbury Community College in Boston. So I have seen a metamorphosis of transformational components, not only in women's sports, in the game, and in the junior community college ranks. And it's going to continue to evolve in retrospect. So, my philosophy, I'm not going to lower my standards as an educator or coach.
Mhm.
I'm going to expect that student to rise to the occasion of my standards and expectations, because at the end of the day, it's going to prepare them for the NCAA Division I level.
Yeah.
Coaches at that level, they don't have time to sit down and deal with the extra outer edges
Yeah.
of what players bring. Both of you know what I'm talking about, and coaches listening know exactly what I'm talking about. It's about mentoring. It's about grooming. It's about helping. It's about caring. It's about getting that player or that student athlete to understand at the next level, you have to be that professional.
Mhm.
You have to be that college professional. You have to make sure you understand balance and time management. No one's going to be looking over your shoulder as it relates to asking you, did you go to class?
Mhm.
Did you meet the meeting? I thought you remembered what time the meeting was. No one. So I let them know early.
Yeah.
I try to bring that component into and transcend it to players and even parents when I'm talking to them. I keep it real. For me, and Dan knows this, it's never just been about basketball. It's about life.
Yeah.
And that, you had asked the question, a double-edged sword question. Hey, how do you able to do this for so long? And then it's been 38, 39 years that you're doing this, and you're doing this long, and you're still doing it. And you got your 700th win. You're getting ready to get CBS, who's going to come in and film you. I just got the call to indicate I've just been selected a 2025 history maker
Oh.
in the nation. A history maker. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm just this lady that keeps my sleeves rolled up
Just grind it out.
and with a ball in my hand,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna cross you over because I was a pretty talented JuCo All-American.
There you go.
And led Roxbury to 2 national junior college championships. I'm just fusing that in there because we're on the hot seat. We're
That's
on the
right.
hot JuCo show. So I gotta put some hoops in there.
Well, you're
I
on
put up
fire,
43
You're on fire.
points for Lamar University. It was the NCAA and AIAW record at that time for a single game score, 43 points. And I wasn't even shooting the three. It was a crossover jumper. I would break your ankles on the hesitation, stop on a dime, pull up the jumper, and it was sick. But there was nowhere to go with that at that time years ago.
Yeah.
The advancement of women's sports since the AIAW and Title IX has transformed. But that was a single game scoring record at Lamar University, and it stood for almost 20 years before Cheryl Swoops came along. A lot of people don't know this. Cheryl
Yep.
Swoops came along at Texas Tech with Marcia Sharp,
Mhm.
won the NCAA title, hit 52 points. But I was drafted from Lamar University in the 3rd round of the first historical women's professional basketball league
That's awesome.
to make history. And I played alongside of Rosie Walker, top junior college All-American, and so many others. So it has been a journey. I'm very grateful. I'm excited to be on the show with you and Dan. I'm excited that the NJCAA has created this platform.
Mm-hmm.
Very relevant, very significant, very important
Yes.
to get the word out, because the junior community college is a viable level. And the WBCA, Women's Basketball Coaches Association, that prides itself on addressing different divisions, they need to also continue to address the NJC division in their meetings, in their sessions, in their workshops, on their website. It's all relative because we are viable.
Sure. Absolutely. So like the history, I feel like we can talk about it and we can go back. And I mean, I could sit here and listen to you for a long time. But I am very intrigued, and Dan and I have been talking about your current team. So tell us about what you got in the bag right now. I know you guys, it's game day. You guys getting ready to get on the road. So talk to us about your current team, where you are, where you guys are going, how you feel. Tell us about the squad.
Well, the squad is a hot squad right now. And someone said, hey, your team is one of the hottest teams in Florida right now. That's what they're saying. I'm just humble. We continue to train. I'm focused on keeping them locked in. And one of the things I told them, you're looking at a lady who's got more experience than any coach in the state of Florida in conference play, in conference preparation. Simple. Those are facts. 39 years worth, taking 27 teams to the state junior college state championships.
Mm-hmm.
This team is hot. Group of freshmen making noise, baller shot callers, a freshman post, freshman wing, freshman point, and add that to a sophomore WBCA All-American honorable mention, Dan Olson's top combo Division I watch list, Shamir Quimby.
There you go.
And you add all of those pieces together, and a couple of weeks, we put up 132 points.
Mm-hmm.
132 points in one game. And we've put up 100 points more than 4 times already, just 100 the other night. Freshmen are being highly recruited. I've got D1 coaches calling, hey, coach, is that kid coming out? I said, no, she's a freshman. Coach, is that kid coming out? No, she's a freshman too. Coach, is that kid coming out? No, she's a freshman too. Wow. So, it took me a minute to recharge. I'll use that word recharge because I had stepped away. And then the new president was appointed. And of course, the new president came back, one of my former players. This was the perfect time.
Yeah.
To come back, and then they also signed a contract, and we became the first JuCo to have a name, image, and likeness with Adidas. So we're under Adidas name, image, contract. So I'm all Adidas. I got my Adidas gear on today.
Your 3 stripes.
Yeah. So this is a perfect time. So it took me a minute to recharge, recruit, get the kind of pieces and players in here that I like to coach and have with me. And it's just going amazing. I'm proud of them. They bought into the system because the first thing they got to do is trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
That's not easy to do, no matter what level you're at. The players got to trust the process, and we're dealing with a different generation. So that becomes even more difficult. I let them be free, but I help them to understand you still have to have respect. Mm-hmm. I don't lower my standards, and I let them know this is who I am. I can talk to you on any level. I can laugh with you on any level. But we still have to maintain respect because you're representing the institution, you're representing the program, you're representing your family, yourself. And guess what? Division I coaches are watching you. Correct. They're looking at you.
Yep.
So they trust that. We're having fun, and we're laughing. They're playing some amazing basketball right now. I'm keeping them locked in. It's game day. I took time today because of my dear friend Dan Olson to carve out time to do this because it was also very important. And, we're excited about the game later on. We're 3rd in conference. We're 14-7, 8-4 in conference. The conference alignment has changed, Dan. We
Yep.
used to be the Southern Conference. We're now the Citrus Conference. We used to have 3 conferences. Now it's 2. So there's always an alignment. You know, one year, historically, we became the first conference to go 12-0 undefeated in conference, men or women that year in the state of Florida. So I've been on the top, ranked in the nation, ranked in the state. I've been in the middle. I've been on the bottom. I don't pay much attention to rankings. I just get the team prepared. And last week we took down the #1 team, #1 in conference, 13 in the nation ranked. We took them down and we had a 32-point lead. So we split. We're in great position right now. We keep going. We could virtually come out as conference champion. And they're taking the top 4. So right now we're locked in. We're in perfect position. And we just need to keep grinding, keep the visors on, keep the prize, and keep looking in front. And academically, we had a solid team GPA of a 2.8, you know, not bad for a group of freshmen.
Yeah.
And just, you know, 2 or 3 sophomores and 2.80. So they're solid. They're working academically. I can't ask for any more than that. And I'm excited about, hey, I'm excited about where they're going. I'm excited about what's in front of us. And I'm going to keep them motivated, keep training to have that edge, and keep them loose, keep them laughing with each other, because laughter is healthy.
That's right.
And laughter is also a form of connection. And sometimes we don't do it enough.
That's right.
So that's what's going on with the Lady Sharks and Coach Summons and what we're doing. You know, yesterday we had a great practice set. We were talking about movies, horror movies. And, you know, I try to find different components that allow me to connect with players, you know, through conversation, through getting to know them and their family, through getting to know some of their journey, what they've gone through, what they've been through. And I can sit and say, you know, I get it. I get it. It makes sense. So use that to motivate you.
Yeah.
Use it to keep you motivated. So yeah, I'm excited about my team right now. Yeah. And I'm excited about my 25 class. We already signed one of the top 6'2" posts early, committed early, talented, incredible beast of a post player out of the Leesburg area, Leesburg, Florida. Can't wait to get her in here. I'm getting multiple calls from coaches at the D1 level. So I'm excited for what 25 has in store and what's coming. And again, I remain grateful and I remain humble. Players like Ramona Edwards played at Barry University, who's a dean of administration at the medical campus, just doing great things, talented person. Madeline Pomiega, who's our Miami-Dade College president, global economy, global educational icon right now, a former player. Coach Yo, we all know Coach Yo at Ole Miss. You know, Coach Yo at Ole Miss. She's a Miami-Dade. That's one of our own. She's like a spiritual daughter. They're all like daughters. And there's so many out there. FBI agents, forensic scientists. It's about helping them change someone's life, changing their own life, and becoming transformational leaders. And using this game, just like you, just like Dan, using this game to transform lives and
Right.
impact them. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Well, look, with nearly a 100% graduation rate over your long haul, not to say that I guess you're a motivational speaker.
I think
'Cause
so.
you got me fired up. Okay.
No, because
Uh,
I've been on the verge of tears a couple of times here. Like, you getting me, coach? You getting me?
but
Look,
look,
I want to put that up. A couple of Hall of Fame rings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got 7. I'm in 7 Hall of Fames, but I just, you know, wear these 2. They're close to my soul. And, you know, one is the Naismith's Hall of Fame down there in Tennessee and as a women's pro legend. And the other is the NJCAA Hall of Fame. But, you know, I don't spend time talking about credentials and honors and awards. I spend more time talking about the impact, and that's the way I want to be remembered. That's the impact I want to have all over the world, all over the globe, because it's bigger than me.
Mm.
And I guess that's how people see me. You know, the NJCAA changed my life.
Well
The
said.
basketball saved my life.
Mhm.
And if it had not been for the NJCAA, I wouldn't be here today. So, you know, when you think of this organization, I think of Lee Pulaski, who's one of my mentors. She's like my big sister. A lot of people don't realize that. Lee Pulaski is like my adopted big sister. Then you have Mary Ellen, who you all know. I know you know that name, Mary Ellen, one of the associate executive directors for the NJCA. When you think about the evolution, those are some of the women who helped put it in place and transform it. So here I am. I continue to move steadily with the graces of God and with passion and fire. And my fire has not gone out. My pilot is always lit.
Ready
And
to
I
start
love this
somebody
game.
else. Yeah.
I love this game. I love education. And I'm just thankful to be in this moment right now with you, sharing, inspiring, motivating, and letting everyone know around the world, never stop believing. And most importantly, never stop dreaming. Because if you write it down and you say it and you type it or you Google it and you whisper it, you can be it. And don't just be someone who talks about being it. Go ahead and be it and do it. Don't watch someone else do it and watch someone else be it. You go ahead and do it. And so, yes, I do a lot of speaking across the country. As I had mentioned to you earlier, I learned this weekend that I am one of the 2025 history makers, and some of the notable celebrities and people that I joined the ranks of, I'm very humble, is individuals like Maya Angelou, Whoopi Goldberg, James Earl Jones, President Barack Obama, Nikki Giovanni, Bob Beamon, U.S. Olympian Gail Marquis. So there's a crew coming in next week, another crew coming in to do a live filming for the history makers in the nation. I'm humble. It's game day. I'm going to take that energy as I do every game day, and I'm going to take the fire in the huddle with me to my players, and I'm going to let them feel it.
Amazing.
Susan, a fabric of junior college women's basketball. We've been delighted to have you on. Best of luck in your game tonight. Travel safely. Once again, thanks for being on NJCA Hot Hoops. Susan Summons.
Thank you so much, Dan. Kenya,
Thank
my
you.
honor.
Yep.
NJCAA, let's go. Shark Nation, baby.
Okay,
Game
Shark
day.
Nation. I'll see you soon.
Ciao.
All right. Thanks again for being on.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
We're back. NJCA Hot Hoops. Kenya, we're going to close for the day.
Yeah.
Um,
What a
let's
great
talk a little.
show.
Excuse me.
What a fantastic show today.
It has been.
I mean,
It's been fun. You know,
having Coach on and then just seeing all the teams that are just showing up right now and grinding it out and winning games. And it's an exciting time for women's basketball, women in sports in general. It's a great time. It's a great time to cover JuCo women's basketball.
I completely agree.
Yes.
And with Susan being on,
Oh man.
I mean, I've known her, like I said, for as long as I've been in women's basketball. And she has been a real instrumental piece to junior college basketball.
What
And
an amazing lady.
like really the tie-in with women and girls and women in sports week and day,
Yeah,
um, you know, it's fitting for her to be on,
100%.
you know? And so, yeah, I'm just delighted that it worked out. And, you know, but we have always talked about, over the past couple of weeks, some of the elite, the supers that are out there in women's basketball from the junior college route. And we've got a couple of mailbag names from the past
Mm,
week,
yeah.
and I know them both very well. And one, nobody's probably going to remember, but our friend David Lane at
Yeah.
Chipola,
Dave.
Latoya Williams, aka Sticks,
Yep.
6'3", all arms and legs.
Yeah.
But a shot blocker,
Mhm.
a real impactful player. Impactful enough, but she just skipped going to 4-year school and she went overseas.
Yep.
Don't know what she's doing now, but one of the impactful players, of course, for the Panhandle for 2 years, and certainly made David Lane look like he knew what he was doing, don't you think?
No doubt. I
Yeah,
mean, I remember her. I mean, what a player. And she definitely made his job look easy at
sure
times.
did. She sure did. Another one of those same players in the same league, Demaria Lyles,
Wow.
6'2", athletic, Gulf Coast State Community College,
Yeah.
played for Rooney Scoville and Grover Hicks,
Yeah.
and went on to Maryland, where she was at the time, the ACC rebounding champion for that year, I think as a junior or a senior. But, a pivotal or an impactful player for, I think, Gulf Coast winning the national title with her that year.
Yeah.
And it might have been 2008, could have been
Mhm.
around there.
Yeah.
But just another, impressive forward, that both of those players are among the great ones that have come
Yeah.
through the last 20 years for sure.
Yes, sir. Those are two great names.
Yeah, yeah. Look, that's our show for the week, and
Yeah.
what a show it has been. So,
What a great
um,
show.
delighted to have Susan Summons on again, and we'll see what we got here coming next week. It's going to start to get interesting again. Let's see if some of these teams get knocked off that were, still unblemished, and,
Yeah.
and really tighten the screws up as we move forward here. And let's sign off, Kenya. Let's move it forward.
Let's do it. Like we said earlier, great show. Always fun with you, Dan. Looking forward to watching all the teams do their thing this week and coming back next week and having another great show. So thank you all for tuning in. We are just delighted and honored to be able to cover NJCAA women's basketball. So we will see you all next week.